Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm gonna make a video showing you guys how I refinish all my hinder hardware. A lot of people were interested in knowing how I do it. It's very simple. See, here's a hinder with standard. This is gonna be focusing on the screws, the body screws, the standoffs, standoff pins, the pivot front and back, the stop pin on the 4th gen models, and the standoffs themselves, and even the pocket clip screws. Now, and also the lock bar stabilizer. Now, since the hinders have so much hardware, it's just a really fun knife to customize and modify. No disrespect to the maker. Some people may think this is disrespectful, changing something that a knife maker has done. But trust me, this is actually what hinder's aiming for. See, here's a one that I refinished. You look at the pivot, it's nice and polished. The screws are polished, though most come like that from the factory. And the other side, see, the pivot is polished, and on the regular stone wash it's not. So you can see the difference there. And then the standoff pins, you can see the difference there from standard and then polished. Now, before anybody says anything, let's go to Hinder's website. And as you can see on Hinder's About page, it says, alright, it says, with the combination of designing art knives and his real-world experience as a first responder, this unusual perspective allows him to design hard-use tactical folders that are not only aesthetically pleasing to the eye, but extremely comfortable in the hand. Okay, so there's some proof that Hinder does like their knives to be visually appealing. Okay. And we are going to do just that with this 3.5 inch flipper Spanto. This is yours, Bob, and I'm going to go ahead and do this on video, show everyone else how I do this. As you can see, the body screws are scratched. There's some scratches on them, and this process is going to show how to remove those scratches and put a brand new finish on them. It's pretty much going to be a refurbishing. And that pivot is very scratched, so we're going to refinish that. And the pivot and the standoff pins and the standoffs themselves. See how the steel standoffs, they can be slightly improved upon if you don't want to get the titanium ones. We're going to show you how to do that. So first, let's get the knife taken apart. I've got my snap on here with the 564 bit and my pivot tools, homemade. I do have the titanium and steel Hinder armorer's tool, but that does scratch the pivot and the titanium, so I choose plastic instead. And this is very easy to make, in case any of you are wondering. This is just some plastic that I filed a hole in there for the lock side pivot, and then just a flat piece of plastic here. To disassemble, I'll start with pivot first. Just unscrew the pivot. Now this plastic is pretty flexible and it doesn't scratch anything, doesn't mar anything. Alright, now with the knife open, I'm going to go ahead and undo the body screws. And I always put my screws in the same spot. They always go back into the same hole, so that screw goes into hole number 1. This will be screw number 2. You may have to hold the other side of the standoff pin to unscrew it. And there goes everything. And take note when you take it apart which if you have different size washers, because some hinders do have the same size washers, but some of them have a smaller and a larger one, like this one. And if you do, the smaller washer goes on the lock side and the larger washer goes on the front side. And go ahead and put all these parts in the ultrasonic cleaner, get it cleaned up because it's quite gunky. I should have shown you guys how well it flipped. It really didn't flip at all. And if you want to do the lock bar stabilizer, you're going to need to take off the pocket clip. If you look at that lock bar stabilizer, you can see it's got some wear and scratches on it. We're going to get rid of that. And if you look at the pocket clip screws, they look marred and just plain. We're going to give those a polished finish also. This is the size you need for the lock bar stabilizer screw of 0.05. Here's a screw for the lock bar stabilizer. And the LBS just comes out. There it is. This is usually stainless steel, sometimes titanium. If it is, I'll anodize it. If not, we'll just give it a brushed finish. And if you have that stop pin right there, you can also take that stop pin out with the same bit. And here's one that I gave a brushed finish to. But this one has a bead blasted screw, so I'll just leave it at that. Man, look at all that caked up Loctite inside there. That is just way too much Loctite. You don't need that much in there. That's what makes it hard to take apart. You only need a very tiny drop of Loctite right there on your threads, just right there, and you're good. You don't need to put it all the way along there. It just makes it a pain to change your scales and stuff like that. Alright, everything has been ultrasonically cleaned. It is spick and span clean as can be right now. Look at that nice bead blast finish. Alright guys, here is where the work begins. These are the supplies you need. Scotch-Brite. Now, I use gray Scotch-Brite, which is the ultra fine. If you only have the normal fine, or this is very fine Scotch-Brite, if you have this, this would work, though I never use it because it's too much of a, I guess, a brushed finish. This one is more polished. I like this one much better. Then you're going to need a drill. Any cheap drill will work. This is just something from Harbor Freight, maybe, you know, 10 bucks. Any drill will work. Or you could use a Dremel for some things, such as the screws, the lock bar stabilizer, and the pivot, or this side of the pivot. And I actually use the Dremel for the standoffs only, though. Another good thing to have is some tape. I like to use blue Scotch painter's tape, and you'll need a something like this. This is just a Dremel bit, and I wrap some tape around it. That's so my standoffs will fit on there, and then I'll put this in my Dremel, spin, spin. Now you can make something like this very easily. Now it really helps to have a adjustable chuck in your Dremel. See if this thing works. Okay, now you'll want to place your standoff on there. Now I've got this all balanced out, so when it spins, it should spin pretty balanced. If not, you may have to adjust your tape or the way you put it on there, but it should spin without much movement. Wobbling. I'll go ahead and cut you off a 1" by 1" piece of Scotch-Brite, and You want to peel the Scotch-Brite apart on one side of it. You're going to use this to fit into the standoff there. I'm just going to go back and forth on the Scotch-Brite to get the center and go to the other side. Go back and forth. Now I've got this on the lowest speed. Not really. Here we go. 2000 RPM. Just go back and forth on the Scotch-Brite, and you can already see a big difference in the finish. The thing that's going to take the most is the center of the standoff. Just go back and forth like that. Make sure you're wearing your safety glasses, which I am. You don't really need a mask for this. So there's our finish. It's coming out already, so you can see that there. It looks very nice. So I'm going to go ahead and continue. There's a close-up of the difference. Now if you want to put a mirror polish on the standoff like this one right here, instead of using Scotch-Brite, you can use a microfiber cloth with some mag polish on it, some Flitz metal polish or anything like that, and spin it on the Dremel and you'll get that finish. But I like the brush finish better. And one common thing is to be careful that the standoff will get hot and it sort of shrinks the tape or something, and it will get loose. So to make sure that it's spinning along with the Dremel at the same RPM, just add another layer of tape on there to get it tight again. Make sure the standoff is on there securely and won't spin freely. And after you're done with one side, you can switch it over to the other side just to make it go in the other direction, give it a better overall finish. And again, be careful because it does get hot. Don't burn yourself. So there's your cheap or free alternative to better looking standoffs if you don't want to pay $20 for the titanium ones. And in a future video I will show you actually how to heat anodize your stock steel standoffs to where they look like the titanium anodized standoffs. And when you're polishing, make sure you don't do this side or this side of the standoff. It's unnecessary. The only part that you see, of course, is this part. Next up is the standoff pins. I'm going to use my drill for that. And what I do is stick the standoff in the drill, just about 3 millimeters of it sticking out, or sticking into the drill there. Make sure it spins true. And now we're going to spin the drill, put the Scotch-Brite pad on it. Now move it around on the Scotch-Brite pad. As I pick it up, I'll put it on a different spot. Now when you're doing this, don't move it around because you're going to get the wrong pattern. And just pick it up, place it on there, hold it there for a second, and then pick it up, place it on another spot every now and then, because if you hold it on one spot of the Scotch-Brite pad and hold it there, you're going to get an uneven finish. And it's very easy to do. As you can see, we already got some good results there. So we went from a uneven finished standoff pin to a nice machine finish. It's easy to see how that works. I did one with the very fine Scotch-Brite just to show you what it looks like. The one in the drill right now, the one in my hand, is the ultra fine Scotch-Brite. See the difference? Alright, the standoff pins are done now. I'm going to do the pivot, and this is where the tape comes in. I'm going to cover the threads with the tape because you do not want to tighten down the drill on plain threads. So I'm going to wrap some tape around it. Pivot in the drill, tighten it down a little bit. You don't need to tighten it too tight. Make sure it spins true. Get your Scotch-Brite. And I reversed it halfway through. See what it looks like so far. Look at that. Nice. Now when you're doing your pivot, make sure you spin it clockwise and counterclockwise. Turn it about halfway through, otherwise it's not going to come out evenly done. And that goes for this side too, which this side doesn't really need tape. You can just put it in your drill, tighten it down. Not too tight though. You don't want to mar your pivot. If you're scared that you might, go ahead and place some tape over that pivot. Now on the pivot, you'll want to get the inside there. Just stick the corner in there while you're spinning it. That'll get the inside of that pivot area. Here's what the pivot looks like after it's done. See, it was all scratched up. Now it has a nice machine finish look to it. Here's the other side. Now I actually have one hinder that actually came with a polished pivot. If you've seen before, this DLC coated hinder actually came with a polished pivot. So this is just mimicking that. Now everything I've done so far probably does not void the warranty, but this right here probably will. What I did was put a little bit of mag polish on the end of this Q-tip and spin it like that, just where the blade makes contact with the pivot. I gave it a polished finish. See, I only polished the area where the blade meets. I didn't polish the entire pivot, just the center there. And you don't want to polish it too much. You can remove too much and actually change the dimensions. Just slightly hold a Q-tip on there. Don't use any pressure. Just let it get shiny like that, and that will make it smoother. That is actually true with any knife. This is a nice thing to do if you've tried everything and you can't get your knife to open smooth. This is one of those things that are pretty much guaranteed to help a little bit. We're going to refinish this lock bar stabilizer. Show you how. What I use for that is a screw about this size, and I have a little piece of cardboard that I cut out. Stick that screw through there. Go ahead and place that through the lock bar stabilizer. Actually, hold on. Wrong way, boy. What an idiot. Okay. So screw goes through the lock bar stabilizer first, like such. Okay. And then I put the cardboard on. So that's flush with the lock bar stabilizer, like that. And this is gonna go into cardboard. Helps keep tension on the lock bar stabilizer to help it spin with the drill. And it is spinning. And put your Scotch-Brite on there. And there we go. You got to refinish the lock bar stabilizer. There it is, just like new again. No more scratches. Now we got to do the same thing for the body screws. I'm just going to put a piece of tape over the threads and put it in the drill, spin it to get rid of all those scratches. Now what I did was make a little like cup out of a piece of tape, and I used the same piece of tape for all the screws. I just put the screw in the tape like that, and then I'll just spin it and just take it out, put the next screw in so you don't have to retape all the screws. You can see the difference. The Refinish screw is on top. Here's the lock bar stabilizer screw before and after. Here's the before of the pocket clip screws, and I'm going to use some metal polish for these instead of Scotch-Brite. Alright, there's 3 polished, mirror polished pocket clip screws, and there's what the old ones used to look like, that single one there. See the finish difference? And if you need to refinish the thumb studs, you can do it using the same method. See if you got a thumb stud that doesn't look even or got scratches on it. The other side looks pretty good. You can actually put this in the drill and spin that very carefully. Now this part, perform at your own risk. Will not be held responsible for any injuries that you incur while doing this, but the thumb stud does fit in the drill, and if you only do this if you really need to, but you can just make sure you tape up the edge or tape some cardboard to it or something in case it does somehow fly out. But I keep it at a low speed. Go ahead and get this at a low speed and just spin it as slow as you can while holding the Scotch-Brite on the thumb stud, and you can refinish it that way. Just be very careful. Alright, refinish the thumb stud, so I got it to close match the best I could on both sides. Alright, go ahead and put the knife together, see what it looks like. Here's the before. See the very uneven finish on everything. Now through the magic of video, here it is. We are all done. This is what it looks like after it's all refinished and polished. Put the standoff pins in and place a piece of tape over it to keep them in there with the pivot. Alright, let's get this knife put together. Put the standoffs in, put your washers, put in your grease, a very small amount of grease. Put your liner on there, scale. And I'm going to put the knife together with the blade open. I'm going to put the body screws in first. Just tighten it down a little bit, then unloosen it. And then go ahead and put the pivot screw in after you put a very tiny drop of Loctite on that part of the screw right there. It's plenty enough. After you do that, just undo the lock bar a little bit, make sure it's not gonna get stuck. Now, I've never had to do any tricks assembling a hinder. I've never had any issues with blade centering. Just tighten the pivot down to where it's firm but not tight. Then you can go ahead and close the blade, and it's always been centered. Never had one that wouldn't center. You can actually tell this one's a little over to the left, so you can loosen that and it'll flip better. You just need to get it right in the center, because if it's too loose it'll be off to the right, and as you tighten it, you can see that there, if you tighten that, alright, so as you see, as I tighten this, the blade's gonna center right when it gets to the center. That's how I know that it's right where it needs to be. You don't need to tighten it anymore. Then you go ahead and line up the scale a little bit. Sometimes the liner and scale don't line up perfectly. Just get it lined up, tighten down the body screws, it perfectly centered. See how well it flips? Perfect. Flicks open perfectly. Alright, that's it guys, that's all there is to it. Now we've got a brand new hinder here, completely refurbished. No need to send it back to hinder. Looks awesome, looks brand new. Add some character to it. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think it looks better like that? I mean, it's just really small things, but hinders do have a lot of hardware. And when you polish them up nice like this, I think it looks better. Looks more aesthetically pleasing, as hinder wants these tools to be. It doesn't affect the shouldn't affect the warranty at all, because I've seen hinders, custom hinders that came with polished pivots, and all this is supposed to look like that. I mean, if there really was a warranty issue, I doubt Rick would refuse to work on the knife just because you did this. It doesn't affect any tolerances or how the knife operates. But it just looks better, just for looks. Hope you guys learned something. Hope you guys learned how to do this yourself. And the knife is a lot smoother. Disengage it, falls right down. The blade just falls on its own. Look at that. That's really smooth. Just a little flick opens it. Now all I need to do is re-anodize the pocket clip. It has some scratches on it. I'm gonna re-anodize to hide those scratches. Put it back on. Alright, re-anodized pocket clip. The worn off anodizing and scratches are now gone. Alright, here's your polished pocket clip screws, mirror polished. How do you like the looks of that? You can actually see yourself in there. Or you can see me not wearing a shirt. Sorry guys. So let me know what you think. I think it looks awesome. Looks sweet. Here's a hinder that hasn't been done for comparison. Flicks open pretty good. Looks really nice with that blue pocket clip. Alright guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thanks for subscribing, watching, and all you guys' support. And I will catch you in the next video. See ya.